Hi, this is Eva for Once Upon a Timeline. Welcome to Midnight Mandela. Hopefully the sound is on. I just realized I haven't checked it. Yes, it looks like it's good. Woohoo! All right, a little bit quiet week for me on the Mandela lands. Don't know about you. It sounds like Shari was busy. She lost... What, did you actually lose a swimming pool across the street from your house? Because those are like extra freaky when those kind of things happen. I don't know what it is about it when it's like at my house. You would think a whole continent disappearing would be more freaky than a swimming pool disappearing. But if the swimming pool is near your house and the continent is in the North Pole, somehow it's at least as bad. So that's kind of what I was reading. We're still on the Orion Cygnus. That has not changed for me, that we were on some kind of Orion spur-like poobah since I learned of the Mandela. So that would I'd probably be fairly freaked out if that changed and they said, oh, now you're on Zuby arm, and we always have been. And you know what'll happen? Like 90% of the people on here will be like, yeah, of course we've been on Zuby arm for 8 years. What are you talking about? That's what I hate about it when those shift, is like I shift away from most of you guys too. Like I guess you'll get another me, or I don't know what happens, but all I know is I shift, and then that Mandela, that was such a big thing, hardly anybody remembers it. The continent is not on my block. I know. The closer it is, the freakier. And I think that is why people have trouble seeing the ones near them. Because some of us don't have so much trouble, but most of us do. And I kind of really noticed that I had to try harder to really see the ones near me at first. Like I had to be like, wait, if there's changes everywhere, there should be changes here. And I would try to like really listen to how my brain was working. And I realized that I would see them and dismiss them like so quickly that I didn't even really notice I was doing it. So I'd be like, oh, I don't remember that bridge there. Oh, but it has graffiti on it, so it must be old. Like my brain made that, and it just was like so quick. And I'm like, wait a minute, that doesn't stop it from being a Mandela. I mean, I just drive this street like every day for 20 years. I never saw that bridge before, but it must not be a Mandela because it has graffiti on it. It doesn't even make any sense, but that was what I was telling myself. So I started to really, really listen, and I actually had to... Some of them I drove by several times, and I'd be like, oh yeah, that's that new bridge, but it must be old. And then I'd drive by it again, and I'd say the same thing in my head, like, didn't even make any sense. So it was like a deeper part of me was blocking the observations around me a lot more than it was for things far away. And maybe just because it was too creepy or difficult. Yeah, it's a simulation run by jesters. It could be. I mean, there's a lot of weird comedy here with the backwards land. But it really did seem like it was like my subconscious mind blocking me from seeing it. And maybe it's just because it's more disturbing. I don't have a lot of Aussies on here. I would say that I used to get a lot of UK people. I'm not sure if I still do, because I used to follow this guy that was from the UK, and he had a lot of UK people, and then we started this like distributed channel thing where one person would do a show every night, and so I got this slot, but all the rest of them quit doing it like eons ago, so I'm the only one still left. I mean, I already wanted to do a show. I wasn't just doing it for that, but I just like jumped in on it. Plus, you had to get like 1,000 subs even then. So not many people that wanted to could do it, because you had to get like those 1,000 subs before you could do a live stream. I think it's still like that. Okay, so I did notice one thing, and I don't think this is brand new, but it just occurred to me that it's been quite a while since I heard birds at weird hours of the night. For a while, that was a huge thing. I think like 2 years ago, it was a big deal that we were all saying, like, why are the birds singing at 1 a.m.? Why are the birds singing at 3 a.m.? And they literally kick in at 1 a.m. First it was they would start at 3 a.m. Then it was like 1 a.m. They were singing out there like it's dawn, right? So it used to kind of flip me out because I'd be like, what? It's 5 a.m. already? Because that would be like when they used to. And I look, no, it's only 1, but they're out there singing like it's like the sun's coming up. And it was happening day after, or night after night. And other people were reporting it all over. Well, you know what? I have not heard that for months now. And I did stay here so late a couple times that the birds started singing, but it was at 5 a.m.-ish, you know, pretty close to when the sun would come up. Like, it makes sense. So I don't know if the birds got confused by the Mandela or what, but I shifted out of that timeline where the birds were confused. She is still missing, and nobody's talking about her. Who's missing? The joke is that we think our life is real. Yeah, what's real? I don't know. You have to define real in order to say it's not. I mean, it's obviously not solid and immovable like we had assumed. And clearly, yeah, it is good water. I don't know. Sometimes it tastes good and sometimes it doesn't. I guess it's just me. To think of reality and, okay, it's a solid, immovable clump, you know, that doesn't change and can't. But it definitely seems like it's more like a dream sim kind of a thing. Kate Middleton, The Guardian. Oh, what's up with Kate Middleton? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I saw that, was it, like a couple weeks ago? Okay, I don't know this magazine, whatever it is, Tattler. So I don't know, is this some kind of 2-bit scungy magazine? Because, I mean, this is a 2-bit scungy image of the Princess of Wales. And if they don't, this one doesn't show the original, but let me tell you, the original was a lot better. And her arms didn't look like they were made out of rubber, and she didn't look fat, and her face didn't look punched, and it was a terrible image of her. A portrait of strength and dignity. The real her, it doesn't even look like her. So I don't know. Maybe that's her in another timeline, but I did see that. I don't know what's going on with nothing really makes sense anymore online. Like, you'll get 20 different answers and you can't figure out which one's correct, and then the AI is limited. If you ask a hard question, it will fail. Like, I asked it the other day, how long can a horse go without eating? And then it said 8 hours. You know, like, I meant like how long can a horse live without eating? And it said 8 hours. Obviously horses don't keel over dead if they miss dinner for 8 hours. But like 8 hours would be how long. You shouldn't let them have to go longer than 8 hours is the recommended time, because they're supposed to be grazers. But I didn't ask it like the recommended feeding schedule. I asked how long they could live, you know, and they don't know. She is gone. Yeah, I am very suspicious that Kate Middleton is gone, or like super effing sick or something and looks terrible, or, you know, in hospice on her deathbed or something. There's something off with that whole thing. I agree. Now, there's always a chance she got like super monstrously sick and she'll eventually pull out, but the thing is that they said they covered for it. So what, are they going to come out now 5 months later and go, oh, actually she died? Then everybody's going to go, so you lied this whole time, because they're saying she's fine. I don't know. The whole thing is weird. Like, if she's got really sick, why don't they just say she's really sick? In the past, they would say that. So what's the point of, like, lying? Let's see. I thought I hurt my eardrums, but I did not poke my ear that deep. Be careful with small things. I kind of miss what the problem was. Oh, you tried to clean out your ears and you felt a pain in that. That's weird. Actually, I've never had that happen. Poking around in the ear to clean them. Huh. The children are gone. Yeah, that's a good point. I haven't seen the children, but if they're all crying and at the bedside or something, then they're not going to have them on, because kids can't act worth a darn, and they probably won't want to. Anyway, it just, everything is weird now. You know about have you ever seen the blue omurishi Japanese food? Blue omurishi. No, I've definitely not seen that. Isn't it just an egg? They're acting like it's a colored egg. Okay, fluffy egg served upside down. I have seen that, but not in blue. And I saw it just like a couple weeks ago, and it's extra creepy in blue. So basically they just like get it so it's kind of liquidy in the middle, and then they slice it and it like peels open. Frankly, the top part is kind of gross looking. I'm not a big fan of it. I only saw it a couple weeks ago though. So, I mean, if that's always been a thing, it just seems weird that suddenly now it's the only time I've ever heard of it. But hey, that's how we roll around here. I mean, it's really just kind of like, you know, runny egg, but the word is mass arrest and retirement for all criminal elites. Yeah, I know the right is all into that. First of all, I mean, there's plenty of evidence that the right has got just as many bad people in it as the left. So their fantasy that like all the Democrats are going to get arrested and carted away, and then they're going to take over the whole country and fix everything is highly unlikely to me, considering all the bad behavior we've seen from the right. So I don't buy into that whole. It kind of makes sense that they would absolutely love that narrative, because they're going to be the saviors of the universe. But you know, you can't be lying your pants off and spreading fake images around and everything. And it's not even need to do that, because there's so much real dirt that you don't have to make up lies. But you know, I know a lot of Republicans, and I'll be like, well, but that is an altered image, or that is a misquote, or that they don't want to hear any of that. Like, they don't care that they said something that's not truth. Now, I'm not saying all of them, but I'll tell you that you'll just get you're this and that. You'll just get insulted. And it's the same on the left. I mean, the true believers do not want to hear anything that goes against what they already want to be true. And that's a problem on both sides. So I don't really see any solutions until a group is in power that actually cares about the truth, actually cares about ethics, isn't just saying, well, that's okay for us to do it because they did some other bad thing, and now we get to do a bad thing because them doing a bad thing means it's okay for us to do a bad thing. That's just not how it works. So yeah, I don't think so. I can only hope we'll, swing the pendulum, swing around, and maybe Gen Alpha will be like, I'm done. Maybe it's gone way over into the bias now, and maybe it'll swing back where the Gen Alpha is gone, this is all stupid, and we're not falling for any of it. And, that's what I'm hoping. I don't know. I don't think it's a coincidence that generation is called Generation Alpha, though, because it really kind of feels like you had Gen Z, they're the last ones of like that era, and then the new era is Alpha. Now, maybe that's just wishful thinking on my part, but I mean, if you look at all the old generations, they got names like Silent and X and all these other, and then somehow we got on Z and Alpha, and I don't know. Are those emu eggs? No, I think if I remember correctly, they they just use ordinary chicken eggs. And yeah, the emu wars has been on. I don't remember the emu wars, but then I don't remember Brumbies, and I don't remember all that other weird stuff either for Australia. We don't even know if the bad, evil stuff they say is happening is actually happening. Yeah, and it seems likely that assuming that the whole thing is not like some like backdrop world, I don't think, unless everything is a backdrop world and there's only a few real people, then everything on TV is fake, something like that. Okay, assuming that's not the case, and I don't know if it's not, but I think there's ample evidence that bad things are done, in Hollywood. I actually lived in Los Angeles. I wouldn't be surprised because of the level of desperation that a lot of those people have to become famous, that they would do whatever was necessary. Some of the stuff we've been hearing, whether it's like every last person doing it and every person in a high place is drinking baby blood and blah, I'm feeling like that's a less likely scenario, but I do think that when people get power and they get away with things, it is, they say power corrupts. I would say it exposes corruption, because that desire was in you. Power did not give you that desire. You wanted to do that. And now you have the opportunity and the power to do the thing you secretly always wanted to do. So you do it. Well, some people do anyway. Some of us might cheat, like, maybe I'll just park here illegally and pay the ticket because I've got $1 billion, okay? That'd probably be some people. And then other people would do, like, lots worse things, I'm sure that everybody will change if they get a bunch of money. It's just like to change their behavior because of opportunity, right? But how are you going to be changing it? How bad will you get, or will you dedicate your life to helping charitable events because you no longer have to work for a living? Probably not a lot of the latter, but hey, who knows? Old Hollywood stars are nuts in this timeline. Yeah, definitely. But I do think even back when I was younger, it was pretty much known that very few people came out of Hollywood not being all screwed up. But I've always written it off to this, which if you've ever met people who grew up rich and spoiled, like their parents just gave them everything, they often are like that too. Like if you're a kid and you just get all this power and wealth and you don't have limits, and everybody's telling you you're great all the time, and because of that you don't have to develop your personality. It's kind of depressing to think about it, but I think a lot of us develop our personality because we want to be liked. And when you're 5 years old and you punch a kid and steal his lollipop, and then he doesn't want to play with you anymore, then you kind of learn, like, hey, if you want to have friends, you need to control your primal urges and not go around punching people, and you learn that when you're tiny, and then all the way up through, you learn and you develop your personality. Hey, if people are to hang out with me, I can't be too much of a jerk. I should be nice. I should say nice, just whatever things you learn to be. But I think that that's part of it, that you develop it for that reason. So I think that's why some rich people don't develop it, because they can pay people to be nice to them. They can buy whatever they want. They don't have to make any effort to obtain things, and they just don't learn. And it's not all of them, certainly. But I think the same thing happens in Hollywood, and maybe even worse, because people are nice to them because they want something, so somebody wants a chance at, stardom, and you're a star, then the easiest way they see to get to be a star is to suck up to you. And so everybody's being all nice to you, and it's fake. And so I always thought it was that. Now, it does kind of sound like the narratives as worse with the P. Diddy thing. And I don't know, maybe this timeline it is. As a female, I have to say, though, I think we all know that people who will men who will behave in ways they shouldn't, and sometimes women, and I don't know from the man side, obviously, are around, and they always have been. And it's not just Hollywood. So I'm going to assume there's a lot in Hollywood, and then there's the power dynamic. So it's just going to make it worse. But yeah, that's one thing. There's like a weird conspiracy theory for everything now. And then if you look into it, there's evidence for them all. Like, interest just enough that you could maybe naysay it away, but yet enough to make you go, And it seems like it's always like that now. On like every big event is like that. If I decide I don't like someone and don't want to be their friend, I just act however I want. Yeah, so, I mean, like, I guess, but I don't know. I grew up in a different era, and it's different when you were Gen X because there was no internet. We grew up without internet. And you had to get along with everybody around you because there was like 5 people that lived near you. And if you didn't get along with those 5 people, you had no friends near you for large chunks of your life. Because during school, that would be, you could have friends, but then after school, you know, they went home. And if they didn't live near you, you're not getting to them. So parents didn't do a lot of driving kids around back then. So you just had to get along with people. So you learned. So you didn't have that attitude like, I don't like that guy, I'm not going to be nice. Because you're not going to have any friends. So we all learned how to just get along. I mean, there's always going to be exceptions, but overall you could get along with 3/4 of the people around you. And it's a habit, you know. It's like, and sometimes you think you don't like somebody and then you get to know them and you're like, actually that guy's not bad. So it does pay off to just not be a jerk. And you never know their story either. I mean, like, you know, maybe they lived a horrible childhood and they're just crawling out of it and they're kind of obnoxious, but they're like 100 times better than you thought they would be, you know, if you had known their whole story. So that's the other thing. Is like, life is hard, you know. I mean, like, it is hard challenge. So try to cut people some slack. I'm 30, so I know this phase of my life will be friendless. Well, I mean, I guess it depends on when you want. Like, this thing helped me a lot. And I think for a lot of my life, I was also kind of this attitude. Like, when I met people, I was like, do you make me happy? Like, are you entertaining to me? Are you this? Are you that? And then as I got older, I kind of went, well, how about what I'm giving back? Like, do I not care about them? Like, maybe I should try to make other people's lives a little better. And then when you start looking at it that way, you actually find other people more interesting too. Like, they have a totally different opinion on me, but why? You know, like, some of them have a really good bunch of information on why they have that opinion. I still may not agree with them, but I learn a lot of the different perspective. I learn to value different things. But it's you would think that giving to someone else sounds like a chore, but then when you actually want to, it's not. It's surprisingly fun. It can be. I can wait until someone wants me for me. Yeah, but the same person's going, well, I can wait until someone wants me for me, and everybody wants the other person to do all the work. That's what I mean. I'm not saying I'll be a doormat. People who know me know that will never happen. Will never happen. But sometimes it's just a little thing. Like, if you see somebody has a nice haircut, say they have a nice haircut. You know, I'm not lying. I'm not forcing it. I'm not making it up. I just say it out loud because I know that it would generally make people happy. I'd rather someone like me, and it has nothing to do with money. Yeah, I totally agree. And see, here's the thing, is that when you grow up as a child and everybody just says they like you, and you don't even really know what's going on. That's the thing that's so hard with it, is that these people they're starting to figure it out as they age, but it's like really nice, like good-looking people. Good-looking people just think other people are nice. They don't realize that a lot of it is because they're good-looking. And so they had dressed up some really good-looking people to make them look like a lot less good, like really ordinary. And then those people went around their day, you know, with just having their face altered to be ordinary. And what they found was that they didn't get the doors open for them all the time, and men didn't go out of their way to help them with things. And then they're like, oh, people are ignoring me, wah, wah. Well, they never knew that a lot of the reason they were getting all that attention from men is because they were good looking, you know. So they learned a lot. They learned a lot that way. And rich people is the same. If they don't know you have money, they don't know you're famous, yeah, they're going to treat you different. But it's, again, how would you like it? I mean, wouldn't that be disturbing if you could never know if you had even one real friend, because they might all just want you for your money. They're not your friends. They're just parasites, basically, if that's all they want is that. But I think we all kind of do it, though. Like, so I don't want people for their money, but maybe I only want them if they entertain me, if they have a good personality, and you have to make me laugh, and you have to do this. I mean, I'm not saying have no standards, but kind of recognize that a lot of what we want is selfish. You know, I want you to make me feel good. Well, what about what I'm going to do for you? I mean, and that guy's probably thinking the same. He wants me to make him feel good, you know, but there's a balance in there. That's all I'm saying. There's a balance. We have ATM in the 60s. I'm pretty sure we had that on there before, the ATM in the 60s, which I call bullcrap because I remember when they invented them. Because it was this, oh, there's this new thing, and it was on the news, and this is a load. Now, they did have, like, the drive-thrus, and you could drive through and then park the car, and then you would talk on the intercom, and you would tell the teller on the intercom, like, what you wanted. And there was this air tube system, and I think I didn't do it because I couldn't drive then, but my parents like would stick stuff in the tube, and the tube would shoot up through like some kind of air thing, and they would get the stuff in the tube, and then they would put your money in the tube, and then that would shoot back down, and then you could grab it. Okay, so I'm going to assume that's not this. So it wasn't really automatic because there was a teller handling the tube thing, and you were talking to them. It wasn't a machine. Ouch, that's so loud. Let's see. 60s. Okay, you're right. Okay, so the teller's doing it. Oh yeah, that's the tube thing. Okay, I think. It looks like the tube thing. Okay, it's a modification of the tube thing. I did have this in my timeline where they would... I only saw it with the tube, but they had a thing that would go up and down. So I did have that. It wasn't really automatic teller because it wasn't a machine. So I did have that. That was a thing. Humans wouldn't be like this if money didn't exist. Well, then you'd have to barter for stuff. And then, like, they've done things on tribes and stuff. You still have jealousy and selfishness and all that. Even if it's just bartering. Because then it's like, oh, I shot that deer. How come you got so much meat from the deer? Well, I helped carry it. And it was really heavy and you didn't help at all. So you should give me more of the meat. And then you'll have them fighting over the amount of meat portions. You'll have fighting over all the same crap. I mean, it's just... minus money, you'll just fight out. So it doesn't really seem like it goes away. I really don't believe that money makes you like that. It exposes your issues in your head that you maybe not have shown before, but I mean, look at it. When a child comes out of the womb and they're like 2, we're like so obnoxious when we're 2. We're like slapping and pushing. Give me the cookie, it's mine. Wah. Those kids don't even have money. They hardly even know what money is, but they're already like a little monsters. We're monsters. We're mean little things. Give me that. Oh, it's not fair. We actually learn to get better over time. So maybe that's part of it. You know, I can spend a lot of time saying everything wrong with humans, but you really think about it. Why are we even try to be good? Why aren't we all narcissists? Like, why do I even care about anybody else? That is what makes us different, that we do care about other people. Now, we may not always care about them really well or as much as I wish we would, but I mean, there's no reason for us to do any of that, really, from a technical point of view. Yet most of us will. So, I mean, is it spiritual? Is it some weird genetic thing? Oh, Chucky. When I was a kid, I used the phone where you dial by moving the circle. Yes. So you see, I grew up with that, and it's called a rotary phone. And you stick your finger in there, and okay. So from years, I think this system will reverse it, so I'll do it the other way. But you put your number on the number. You put your finger in the number you want, and you put it all the way to 0, and then it goes. And you do that for each one. That's a rotary phone. Yes. And that was the only phone we had. We all had rotary phones. We all knew how to use them. And it was, I can see why it confuses you guys, because if you didn't grow up with it, yeah, it's a little bit confusing. Then somewhere along the line in the 70s, I think they started inventing the push button ones. And those were easy because you go meep, 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 meep instead of it was like way faster. Communist Soviet Union and China was heaven on earth. They all had money, though. This shushing woman statue in New York is huge. Money was a thing. And so here's the thing. There is no real... What the hell is that? It's huge. You're right. That is huge. Turns head in Jersey City. A new installation set to be unveiled in Jersey City later this month. So 3 years ago, that thing was... I've not heard of it. It is huge. The shushing woman. Why is it all our sculptures are... I mean, this is not the ugliest one I've ever seen, but it is not exactly good. And the whole... I was looking in that, into that skibbity toilets thing, that all the alpha are watching. So I'm just laughing to see this now because 2 days ago I was looking at skibbity toilets and I was like, what is Gen Alpha doing? So I was actually surprised I guess it's just this really weird video thing that is gotten super, super popular with Gen Alpha. And it started out with some dude just put some goofy video up, it was a minute of it was based out of nightmares. He had this nightmares of heads and toilets, so he just made this goofy video. But it got all these clicks and stuff. So then he made another one, and that one got a lot of clicks. And then over time, he developed a whole world and a storyline, and it's this first-person shooter mecha with different races of creatures, and then there's all these subplots, and he made it into this huge thing. But it is still about the bad guys are heads and toilets, so it's people, it's so stupid and blah. But then I actually started watching. I'm okay, it's really not bad at all. I mean, it's really goofy and weird, but here I'm thinking, they're watching heads and toilets all day. But no, there's a whole... He basically started it that way, and then he morphed it how could I make a lot of money off of this? And so he made it into a whole thing. And it actually kind of freaks me out a little because it's one guy that's 25 years old in Georgia, not the America, Georgia, the one over there in the Middle East. And he's got this Russian name. And he apparently does this whole thing. He does the animation. He does the plot lines. It seems like he does the whole thing. I have a hard time believing that he does the whole thing. I feel like he must have gotten some help, but I don't know. Maybe he just works really hard. So there's all this, there's all these fight scenes between the mechas and stuff. And they're pretty well choreographed and that. So I'm okay, Gen Alpha, you're exonerated. You're not actually totally gaga over just heads and toilets. Which I'm kind of relieved. When you dial, do you give your finger the free ride back? Do I go like that and leave my finger in it? No, I never did that for phones. I just... I had never thought of that. I don't know. The old phone was heavy, yeah. But it was on the wall, so it wasn't a big deal. Yeah, I don't know about that shushing woman statue. That's been there for 3 years, and somehow, I don't know. To keep, so yeah, the whole idea of would we be different if we didn't have money, like, and it's an interesting, Gen Alpha is active in society. So Alpha, they're just still in school right now. They're like kids. They're like kids. When is it the Alpha era anyway? All right, Gen Alpha. How old are Gen Alpha? This might be an easy enough question for the AI to get. Born between 2010 and 2024. Okay, so they're like 14. I can't do. And right now, that's a pretty big range. Okay, so yeah, up to 0 to 14 is Alpha right now. Characterizes the mini millennials or the digital natives. All right, yeah, I could have read it instead of trying to do math. The bulk of Generation Alpha is under the age of 13. Although I've definitely met some older, like a little bit older teens that also watch the show. But apparently it's being driven by Alpha. The other thing about that show is it's really, really fast-paced. Like there is just no... Like, even if there's a little joke time, it's like some little fun thing happens. It's like 5 seconds or 8 seconds. And then we're on to the next fight scene. We're on to the next attack. We're on to the next clue. And there's all these, and it's like this. So I can see, like, it's just frenetic. Like, you're like, normally when I watch shows, I'm like half doing my work and then I kind of glance up. This show is like, it's short, but it's constant. Like, you can't look away because you're going to miss 6 clues and a fight scene if you look away. And in each fight scene, there's little things that happen, like, just in a half a second. It's like the reverse of when I was a kid when I used to watch shows, because they used to make sure that the audience could follow everything and that all of the clues were kind of well choreographed, so you wouldn't feel stupid. You wouldn't miss anything. But now it's the reverse. It goes at 1,000,000 miles an hour. You'll probably miss 3/4 of the little clues. And then people will go back and watch it again and they'll catch a bunch more clues. And then you watch it again and you'll catch a bunch. And then you're like, I didn't even see that because I was still busy watching this. There's like 6 things in there to look at. So I can see, like, it just like it's a brain hack. My sister's son has earned money. Okay, so Alpha, actually, a fair number of them are online earning money, like as influencers and stuff. I've actually been pretty impressed with most of the Gen Alpha influencers. And one of the reasons is because they just seem like nice people. And they do seem like they're not the ageist, like, I hate these people, I hate those people. And they might, like, they just seem nice. I don't know. They just don't seem so mean like some of the other gens. So, I don't know, maybe I'm just biased and I just want it to be true that Alpha is going to be cool. They're going to be different though, so we're going to have to try to be open-minded on some things. Giant woman. Okay, let me just read on this. Water's soul. Water's soul tells you to shut it. I feel like this is something the librarian told me when I was a kid. In a state of silent contemplation. Close your mouth. I don't know. I kind of feel like I don't love. I guess it can be taken 2 ways. It could be like they're silencing you. Or it could be like shut up and listen more. And I guess that could be a good lesson or a bad lesson depending on the subject material. It is located on private property. The Jersey City mayor says he has no say in the sculpture because it's located on private property. Most of the Newport section is privately owned. But you know, even there's regulations on stuff like that, like height regulations and stuff. So to say he had no power over it, you can just put in a 10-story statue. It seems highly unlikely to me. I'm betting he's just passing the buck, like, I didn't do it. All right, so I was looking at stormtroopers, because Jackie was talking about them, and she was talking about, I think, these arm things. So I feel like the arms have really changed, because they used to be, like, locked in here, and you could barely see any black, and they didn't, like, now they kind of slide around, so it looks like his arm, like, this arm looks like it's broken, or that one does, or so. I mean, it's, like, so claptrappy now, and I'm like, what the heck? So this is the famous, the trash compactor scene, and they had stolen the stormtrooper outfits so that they could, like, sneak around like stormtroopers. And I was like, I picked this one because you could really see. But first of all, like, what's up with this, like, weird strappy things? Like, like it's a stupid shirt now. And then it's like, it looks like a crop top shirt, and there's all these buttons and stuff. And then he got that crazy big belt thing that Batman has also obtained. And then what are these little skirt things here? And then you see so much black. And then the more I looked at it, the more I realized that there has been a huge change in the hands too, like a huge change. Like, this is all different. I feel like the little indents for the breastplate is more. But that especially this one, all of these things, the danglies, but then right here is like, I'm like, hell no. No. This was not here last time. And it's this. So apparently now there's just a little white thing here, and then the whole rest is just a black glove. Like, there's no, like, cover, nothing on those hands. It's just a black glove. It's like it got really cheap on the outfits or something, because the arm things suck, and I don't know what's going on. And then they just have black gloves. And this does look a little more comfy, because before there were so many parts that I'm like, oh, that must have been really hard to clatter around in. But now they have a lot more room for the joints and stuff. So look, there's this weird indented line on. This is definitely no, and this is definitely no. And these are the original scenes. Like, no. All right, let me just. So in case you're thinking I'm crazy and it was just because they were too lazy to put the full gloves on, it's here too. See, these are the original Imperial Stormtrooper outfits. And you can see all the little dots. They did not have, like, all that. And then you can see that the gloves have no more parts to them. They just have that little back plate, and that's like it. And you can see here that these arm things don't even fit up in here. They look like they're just like big bracelets or something. It's just all wrong. There's way too much black showing. I mean, it's not right. Actually, I didn't even look at the back. They better not all have those on there. Okay, let's see. I just realized if they all have little rolled up newspapers on their butt, I'm going to laugh so hard. Wouldn't put it past the Mandela to sneak more stuff on the back. You find out there's a rainbow flag back there or something. Original back view. Let's see if I can find it in back view. Oh my god, they do. It looks like they do all have little boobas on their back. Oh my god. Look. Oh my god, they do. They all have little they all have tubes on their back. That was not. No. Alright, this one. quit it. Okay, so it looks like this one doesn't have it, but it goes right here. There's like these, they're like little mini vests now. This part hardly even looks like armor. It just looks like hot pants. This can't be right. No. Wait, there's not like holes in the back. Oh, okay, that must be where that snaps on, but still. Wait a minute. It looks like there are holes in the back. That does not look right. There has been some big, and see like these big carve outs right here at all this elbow area. That's like totally different. O-L-L. I just don't remember it. Alright, let me just see if I can find... You know what I've noticed in the last year or so? It is very hard to find original Star Wars images from the original movies. And for so many years, it was easy. And even the first years of me doing this on this show, it was easy. But now it is not. Oh, they have like black holsters too. I don't remember them having black holsters. I thought they were all white. Look, see, they all have black gloves on. It's so wrong. This is so wrong. The other thing I noticed is Shari kind of mentioned these vent lines. I don't think those are brand new, but I have noticed that I'm finding them in different colors now, like blue and like here, see? And they're not, they're obvious. I thought that those were vent holes, but I guess they're just slashes. Like patterns. Like, why even have it if they're not vent holes? It made sense when they were black and represented vent holes. But now they're just like stupid decoration. See, I can't find the backs of any like legit ones now. But you know, we saw it. Like they would be running out chasing the good guys. You would see. That just looks so wrong. Alright, so anyway, yeah. Live 1 year in real third world country and see if you don't come crying back to... yeah, I know. So a lot of people, I think they don't really... I mean, if you lived in a third world country without a bunch of money, because if you have a bunch of money, then, you know, you could get most things, but... Or even a decent amount of money in America would be a long way in a third world country. If you actually had to live a third world country life in a third world country, yeah, it was... Kids are spoiled. I mean, I was spoiled compared to my parents or at least my grandparents. But then, you know, a lot of the whiners, I think basically the more stable people are not online all day, like complaining on social media. They're out like having a life more. So, and then they say about 90% of online people don't post messages. So it could be that we're just hearing from the most obnoxious people the most, and then those people who have no friends are the ones that post a lot too, and everybody else is like busy living their life, and they may post once in a while, and that's it. Aren't they still in diapers? Well, 14, I hope they're not still. Alpha's not in diapers at 14. So well, that 14, so that's through junior high school. Alpha Flight Marvel Comics. I don't know what that is. I gave up keeping track of what they call gens. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just curious what the new ones are coming out like, because I'm hoping that they're going to come out good, basically. Please. I like the millennials, a big chunk of them have spent their time blaming everything on boomers, and I don't think that's really been very productive. Especially when everybody that's older than them is called a boomer, even those of us that are not the right age to be boomers. And then it was like, okay, boomer for anything that anybody ever said, no matter how good it is, just because they don't want to hear it, it's okay, boomer. And I wasn't really loving that, so. So I'm hoping Alpha will be more egalitarian. The Falkirk. We've had this Falkirk thing. Actually, it does look more, well, let's see. Was it always like this high with this big long tube and everything? I don't know. It does seem, this is sped up so that, you know, ships don't move that fast, But I've had that on. When did I have that on? A couple years ago. No, you know, I think it was actually before the pandemic. I watched an old episode of Star Trek. The alien Gorn looks different. Outfit, arms, knees different. Thicker. Yeah. I really feel like so much has changed on the old stuff. It's easier to notice on stuff like Stormtroopers because we're so familiar with it. But some of those old ones, I just saw it like once or twice. Also, the Stormtroopers were in multiple episodes and multiple scenes, and it was a 2-hour movie, and double-decker bus racing. Yeah, I guess they had that in the 80s. I don't recall anything like that, but you know what? We didn't have the internet back then, so weird stuff did not get around as quickly. How would you even... I feel like with the internet, it's easier to have weird events because you can get the word around and you can find that 1 out of 500 people that might be interested in a double-decker car race. I certainly don't remember double-decker bus racing in the 80s. Yeah, you're right. I think we had that on, but pinky fingers really do stick out pretty far. So this edge here used to be up more, if I could get it to look right. And this side looks better than this side, but you kind of have, if you pull that hand up, and then you kind of make that thumb smaller and higher, it's really hard to get it to look like that now, but pull that one down, this one up, so it's more squared off. The thumb needs to be up here more. It's, you know, it's we've had this on before, but I think it's still sneaking down. And look at how long it is. It's longer than my pinky now, this thumb, even without the Band-Aid. What did I do? I stabbed myself with a puffer fish the other day. Little stinkers. I was trying to get the stuffing out, and it just like went right on my hand. These are stuffed puffers, not live ones. So there's no more poison, so that's why it is safe, other than the stabbing itself. Well, we will regret. It's like, the reason I don't like it is because a lot of times, like most of the time, it was really just a cheap way to avoid answering fairly when somebody had a legitimate point. They could just dismiss it all. And I mean, when I was 14, I would do that. But I mean, it's like once you're 35, you shouldn't be doing that anymore, you know? It does not seem like the really younger generations are doing that. So that's good. Maybe I just associate it with the overall degeneration of the quality of discussion online, and that's part of it too. So boomers, a lot of them aren't online much, so they're not there to like defend themselves either. Because that's one generation past me, and most of them are just not into the internet that much. Why are all the animals trying to kill us in this time? I know. There's something on like every day now, or animals attacking cars, animals attacking boats. And we like these people weren't bugging them. Okay, they just attacked because they're mean. Birds attacking people's eyeballs. Oh yeah, so like it just was a poke. In fact, I could probably take it off now. It just got, and it poked like right there, and so it was like bleeding kind of a lot. And the thing is, I can't get blood all over my papers and my receipts and stuff, so I have to like shore it up, you know. Like I have to stem the tide. Even like 1 drop of blood on somebody's receipt is gross. You don't want to send somebody, you know, people get grossed out by that stuff. So blue-ringed octopus. I think that's super poisonous one, right? My parents are always online. Yeah, but you're a millennial, so how old are your parents? They're probably like my age. Unless they were pretty old when they had you. They're probably in their 50s. And that would be Gen X. 30, 40, 50. They could be still boomers if they were older. Yeah, Facebook. I think Facebook is older people. So, like, Facebook didn't even exist for me. Originally, it was MySpace, and then they came out with Facebook, and that was, like, the new one. All right, so let's see. We got that thing. I got those. Did not find much on the old stormtroopers, did I? I hunted so hard to find even decent images of the original stormtroopers where you could really see the stomach, because a lot of them you just see the upper part of them. I actually had to like look ooh, here. All right, this side, this one is legit. Because I remember the scene, so. All right, so it looks like just a circle and a couple slash marks. That's kind of super cheesy looking. So I just remember this being armor. I don't remember this like. This was armor, and they had armor, and they didn't have like hot pants. They really cheaped out on the costumes, man, on this. I'm sorry, but they did a much better job on the armor a couple of shifts ago. They're really good with the internet, but my dad was a computer guy in the 90s. Okay. If he was a computer guy... Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if he's like in his 50s, he's Gen X though. Unless he's like 60, then he could be a boomer. Because people my generation were... If he was kind of old when the computers came out and he was already like 25, then he could be a boomer. Why do so many people hate the Mandela? I think it just scares them and freaks them out and gives them the creepies, and they just don't want to hear about stuff that makes them uncomfortable. And that's kind of the very much that whole era that we've been from millennial through to alpha. I don't know if alpha is doing it, but it was like Gen X. We kind of were like the feral children. We ran around without any supervision, and nobody helped us because we were out by ourselves all the time. You know, if our parents were at work, we weren't even home. You had to take care of yourself, because even if you wanted to cry to mommy, she wasn't there, and you're 50 blocks down the street. So it kind of like, it seems like somewhere around the end of our era, there was a whole thing like we should take care of kids better, which I don't disagree with, but I think maybe it went like too far, because kids were like, just give kids whatever they want so they're happy, you know, but they got pretty spoiled, some of them. So I think it needs to come back the other way. We have to be able to take care of kids, but still have rules and expectations that are reasonable for them. Not excessive, but not nothing. Like behaving decently to other humans and stuff like that. I was raised on boomer perspectives. I don't even know boomers, how much perspective did they even have? I mean, like, when I was a kid, the whole thing was you get a job and then you pay your bills and maybe get a house and a car. That was it. There wasn't a lot of perspective. Like, politics were less of a thing. And you had your political views, but man, you didn't, I mean, we go days and weeks without talking about them. It just wasn't a big part of your life. Your perspective was just, that was it. I mean, there wasn't a lot of things to even have an opinion on. Oh yeah, it sounds like they were boomers then. If they were in their 30s when the computers came out, that's boomers. Yeah, I think the other thing though is and this is probably normal, and it probably would have happened more if we had internet when I was a kid, but kids that don't get along with their parents and then they get online and they just complain about their parents. But they kind of, I feel like a lot of them just kind of said, oh, that's boomers. And was like, no, you have a beef with your parents. And a lot of what they would describe is really not descriptive of all the boomers. It's descriptive of your parents. So they kind of conflated that. And if I was a kid with the internet when I was 14, I probably would have done it too. We just didn't have the opportunity. Computer cabling business. I think that's still a good business to be in now, except for I've heard it's quite tiring pulling all those cables and stuff. Okay, so what do we got? Hot pants. No. I didn't remember this whole white thing they had. They didn't wear black gloves. It's just wrong. I hope some people remember that, because that is like so wrong. They were white. They're turning black. This one, like, it looks like a girl is wearing it too, because the way it's designed now, it just looks like this kind of like this mini shirt thing that bears your midriff and stuff. It's just a girl style. All right, so here's the thumbnail, and it is a cat. It is a Maine Coon cat. Naturally like this. This was it when it was a kitty. So apparently now they grow out all their fur, and then the fur changes color on the outside versus the inside. I haven't really seen that, but it's becoming more of a thing, because like the horses will be one color, they're getting longer hair, and then you shave them and they're another color, and they'll have one color for the summer and one color for the winter. And I'm like, what? Since when? Look, he has this like little tuft of hair right here, like punk rock kitty. Right here, like a little gremlin creature. So that I've had Maine Coons on before, because they're turning into little lions, and now literally this thing, and this is just natural kitty. They, of course, they aren't all that extreme, but with the color change going on, yeah, it's crazy. He owned a computer. I mean, I got a computer in the 90s. I spent $4,000 to get a computer, a printer, and a keyboard, and the modem. And of course, it's a lot cheaper now. Those things dial up. I mean, the power was nothing. You had to type DIR enter to start it. I mean, it was like there was no I remember when they were like, oh, GUI, graphic user interface. You used to have to type the commands in a command line. There was no like choosing of this display screen thing. You had to type in everything you wanted. I load this, run that. When they came out with the graphic user interface, which is basically like Windows, when they came out with that, That was like, oh, and then when they came out with word processing, that was like the holy grail, which just means basically you could type stuff and edit it. Instead of it, instead of having to use backspace, because it used to be if you type something wrong, you'd have to backspace all the way over there to fix it. But this thing let you jump around and like just fix the spot. And then, of course, it's nothing to kids now. You grew up with it, but we didn't have that before. So we're like, oh, this saves so much work. Thank you, Lord. Joe Rizvan. Awesome. I don't even know what I'm looking at here. I'm clicking on something.
Our guest on this research session is...
Stop. I don't even know what I'm looking at. Tony Gonzalez anyway, I'm not going to go politics. I don't trust either side, so there you go. I mean, individuals perhaps can be trusted, but... I remember as a child, Vietnam War, and children should be seen and not heard. You did not talk to your parents. So I do remember children should be seen and not heard, but it usually was only like if the parents were trying to have a conversation and you're like, mommy, 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 blah, blah, blah. And then they finally say, like, quit bugging me, and I'm having an adult conversation. And they would say that. But they didn't really say that like when you're just playing outside or something. So it was reasonable at the time when I heard that. Because usually you were being like a big pest. And they're basically saying that, you need to be able to not require attention all the time when the parents are trying to have a conversation. Because back then, parents did not get a lot of time to get together, too. So that time was kind of special. Because you were at work a lot. The parents were taking care of the kids a lot. They didn't get a lot of time when they get to actually talk to other adults in a non-workplace. I always demanded. I mean, I think it's natural for kids to try to get their way. But then part of growing up is to learn to self-control, and you're supposed to be learning that, like, I want a cookie right now, but people are busy, and I, can wait for 10 minutes before I ask for a cookie, or, and maybe I'll even get told no because it's before dinner, those kind of things. Yeah, I remember when you didn't have to use a typewriter. When I got a typewriter that had backspace erase, that was already like thankful. But man, when I got to use a word processor, that was because it used to take so much time to just type up your paper, because you'd write it all out by hand, scribbles, and then you'd have to type it. So it was a whole separate thing. But now you could do it all at once. As you wrote it, it would be typed. And then you could just go back and do your editing. You wouldn't have to do your editing first and then type it all. And it, like, literally half of writing the paper was just typing it. So it like doubled the efficiency of the paper. It was just, and then when you were typing, you were always so worried you miss one word. Now what are you going to do? You're going to have to retype that whole page, or you have to get really creative. Oh, it was such a pain. Dessert after dinner. Yeah, so, yeah, you don't get dessert all the time, blah, blah, blah. I mean, certainly there's lots of kids that still grow up with reasonable boundaries, but I think a lot of adults my age kind of got this thing like, well, it was a hard life, so I'm going to give kids everything I didn't have. And I don't think they really realize that if you give kids everything, they get spoiled. My niece was like that. Every time she wanted a cookie, she got a cookie. And then the end result is by the time she's 10, she just doesn't expect to be told no. She doesn't expect to have to wait for 5 seconds. And that's not growing up. Those are skills you do need to be able to do as an adult. Because eventually you're going to get barfed out into the world, and you're going to have to do work and do things you don't love and taxes, and you can't like throw a temper tantrum every time because you don't like it. And that's the problem with that. And it's not fair to the kid because now they're totally unprepared for life. Or I don't want to say totally, but they're much less prepared for life. And now lessons they should have learned when they're 5, they have to learn it when they're 25. And it's much harder then. Much harder. So you got to find that balance. I feel sorry for a lot of kids because they didn't learn how to socialize with humans and how to take criticism on their work because nobody ever wanted to criticize their work because it's mean. And, but you do have to be able to take criticism of your work and not take it personally because we'd all have things that we can improve on our work. I mean, if you do work and then the boss comes by and goes, well, can you fix that? You can't, if you're crushed by it, if it hurts you so bad, it's going to be so hard to do work. It's going to be so hard to function in reality if you never learn that. Okay, so this is a bizarre thing. I have just said, it just seems like reality is getting sloppy. And this is kind of an example of it. Somebody was on here saying, now, I don't know about this Mandela, but the dog the Doge coin, which looks like doggy coin, Doge, which I at first thought was doggy coin, but apparently it's Doge coin. But just to make it more confusing, there's that Shiba Inu. Let me just show you in case you don't know. Doge coin. They put a dog on it, but then it looks like it's spelled doggy, and then it's this guy, okay? So, this is the little symbol of the Doge coin. Well, this is based off a real dog, apparently. And so this guy's saying basically this dog keeps dying and coming back to life, like Mandela style. It's alive again. So, 4 months ago, this guy, Star Walk M, said, hey, this Doge dog, the original, keeps dying and come back to life, and it happened several times. And then he said, when that dog followed me here and died again, yeah, I'm gonna have to tell everyone I know about it at this point. So it really sounds like he's saying it just died, it's dead. In this thing, this sentence really, really indicates that at this point it died again, and I am going to have to tell people because this is ridiculous. It's fairly hard to interpret this sentence as anything else than it was dead right then. Nobody disputes it, though. Nobody comes on here and says, no, it's still alive. So, very interesting. And then a bunch of people have now come back and said, hey, it died again. It's 3 days ago, it died again, okay? Let's see. This one was 4 months ago. Yeah, he says, I'm here for, this one says, I'm here for this, agreement. This is agreement with this. And then now people are going, it's dead again, dead again. And weirdly, they've responded to this Starwalk M, but Starwalk M has not went, are you kidding me? Let's see if this person's still posting. Oh, okay, so that person has reposted on comment from months ago about news that was published 2 days ago. Okay, maybe he's the one who posted it on here. All right, so yeah, anyways, I just feel like the Mandela usually doesn't leave behind evidence. Now, it is a little bit vague because it does not specifically say and he's dead right now, but it really strongly indicates that. So I thought that was interesting. The other thing is this thread here, people who you thought were alive but are dead. So this is the opposite of alive again. I don't know how you would call this, dead earlier. We just have not had many reports of dead earlier. I have not experienced any obvious dead earliers, but apparently several people do remember dead earliers. Frank Zappa, I was surprised to hear he died. Then even more surprised to learn he died 3 decades ago. This person, isn't he alive? I thought he was alive a couple months ago. I know, right? He died in 93. So are we actually getting dead earliers? Or, yeah, I guess you could call it dead earliers. Would be kind of the opposite of alive again. Like, I just saw him yesterday, or I heard of him last week, and now it turns out he's been dead for 20 years. So that would be dead earliers. This one got me a couple years ago. Not sure why I thought he was alive, but it probably had something to do with him seeming such a modern personality of his time. Blah, blah. George Harrison. So there's a few, and I don't know about Frank Zappa. I don't know those ones, but it seems like we might be getting dead earliers. Joe Blow remembers that dog dying 4 times too. Yeah, I don't know. Dogecoin. I feel like it's typical trolling that why did they call it Doge? And then they put a dog on it. But then if you say doggy coin, you're stupid. It's like, oh, you're trolling me to make a stupid mistake. Lou Reed died in 2013 here. However, he died in 2015 in my old timeline. Okay, so he died 3 years earlier. So I had seen like this, like the guy's been dead for years, and then there becomes some dispute about when exactly he died. I have seen that, but what I haven't seen is until now, or I guess that was a 4-month-old one, was I thought he was alive right now, and it turns out he's been dead a long time. So I guess that's the delineation that I want to make, like, because we've had ones where they were dead for years, and then years later we kind of like, is that the exact year? But he was already dead for all of us. It just, now we're just disputing the year. So I think that would be more really creepy, because if somebody was alive yesterday or last week and then you find out they've been dead for 20 years, that's kind of shocking. Celebs that I know that have died have stayed dead. No alive agains for you, huh? What does the word Doge mean? Yeah, why is it? Why is Dogecoin? Why did Dogecoin... Wait, it's a G. Get that name. See if this one could be... Let's see if AI can pull it off. Alright, let's try Wiki. It does not look like... Originally formed as a joke. Let's see. He was a member of Adobe Marketing. Palmer had purchased the domain Dogecoin and as a splash screen. Why was it called Dogecoin? I don't really see it in there. AI couldn't do it either. This is not financial. Why did Dogecoin get that name? It took its name from a once popular meme. Okay, Dogecoin name meme. Doge. Now I'm kind of curious. Coin name meme. No, your meme. The Doge meme as a mascot. Okay, so there was a Doge meme. is a slang term for dog. I did not ever see that slang. Doge. I've heard doggy, dogo, D-O-G-O, doggo. I've not heard doge as a slang term for a dog. That's interesting. You gotta realize I am on like Reddit for quite some time. So, starting in 2015, 17. I don't know. I could have maybe missed that. All right. So it was a slang name for dog. Doja Cat. Yeah, she's pretty new for me. At least I never heard of her until recently. Doja Cat today, dog tomorrow. I know. What's that chick? Her name is The Stallion. She was 3 Stallion. And when I saw it, I'm like, really? Her first name is 3? And I really looked at it. Three. I'm like, maybe I'm reading it wrong. No, it's 3. Now it's the or whatever, however you say it. The R is gone. She's not the 3 Stallion anymore. Okay, so really cool kitty cats. We have Dead Sooners. All right. 26 minutes left. The Mandela is the most powerful tripping out substances anyone could ever take. I don't know, man, because if you take like 5 grams of mushrooms, I think it's going to be even crazier. Because reality will be like gone. It won't just be slightly changed. He died sooners. Okay, died sooners. Died sooners. Something about the word sooners sounds funny. We could also call it already deads. That would be another one, because that would delineate over just having confusion about the date of death from years ago versus he shouldn't be dead, but he already is. Already deads or died sooners. 5 grams of shrooms total freak out. I don't know. You think it just depends on if you're ready for it or not. I've gotten close to 5 grams, but I have not quite done that. Frankly, the last time I did it, I only had 4.3 grams left, so that was how much was going to get took. Oh yeah, you're right. The trip lasted 8 years. Mushrooms only last like 6 hours. Yeah, it's a good point. That's a good point. And unlike mushrooms where you get a peak and then it kind of slows down, this one has not. 1 hour. I think I only have half hour left. 1:30 over here. Half hour. Yeah. This is one that like just always accelerates. I mean, sometimes it slows down, but overall it just gets crazier. All right, so let's go through some of these old ones I have. Like this one from I had this thing where they were saying that bears like dogs, okay? And that was years ago, and then some people were disputing, well, maybe that guy just had an unusual situation where the bears were used to the dogs and he better watch out because those bears will probably eat that dog tomorrow. So this showed up, and I couldn't find anything else about bears and dogs being friends except for this one guy. So this one sort of came out of the blue, but basically it says a husky was lost in Kamchatka. I think that's somewhere in Russia. They started looking for him using a drone and found him hanging out with bears. So... And these aren't polar bears. The story I originally found was polar bears. So here is the little doggy. And I guess he's just jumping around on these bears and, like, playing with them. You can see the bears are putting up with him. And he's just like... So, this story really seems to be growing. And the other thing that we've talked about is like bear faces. A lot of people said they just are looking more doggy like. So I could kind of see that maybe the timeline's going to say, well, bears think of dogs as like little baby bears. I mean, obviously they smell different, but maybe it triggers their tolerance or their maternal instincts. It's a little tiny cutie, and they don't eat them, okay? So that's the thing. But this is like an add-on. See, there's the little doggy just hanging out with the bears. Hey, you know what? If I got lost and I didn't have any food, I think bears, if they put up with me, would be a good place to hang out because nobody else is going to mess with you. But this dog is being a pill, and look at this bear is all sweet to it. And even playing with the doggy. So, pretty crazy. Bears and dogs get along. I don't know. I mean, yeah, like this guy said, the dog's all poking him in the face and all this stuff. Yeah, you know, it's definitely not for everybody, shrooms and that stuff. There's people who just say it's like this magic solution thing, but I think if you're a little bit unstable already, it can definitely destabilize you further. I think it's a lot better for people with depression, but if you have any history of like schizophrenia or anything like that, it's I wouldn't do it because it might just crack you a little further. Oh, yeah, that back hump. We covered that a couple weeks ago, I think, right? Huh, no bear eating doggy. What is the world coming to? I know. Red panda. I bet red pandas are going to make great pets. They're so cute. It seems like these new things come into reality and like, oh, that's a wild animal. It's terrible to be a pet. Nobody should even think about it. And then like 3 shifts later, it's like half of Japan has pet whatevers or something. Don't do shrooms if you have anxiety. You know, some people feel like it helps them and some people don't. But the one thing about shrooms is you can just take like a little bit and see how it goes and then take a little bit more. Just don't be crazy. Use your brain. I feel like this is a salvia trip. I'm too chicken to do salvia. I don't like that kind of stuff. Nobody seems to like a salvia trip. But yes, it might be more like a salvia trip because what I've heard is that a salvia trip, like when you do shrooms, you pretty much know you did shrooms, and so when crazy stuff happens, you're like, okay, I did shrooms. So that's why everything's weird right now. But salvia, you don't remember that you did salvia, and you don't really remember what's going on. And so you're basically dealing with all this stuff, and you don't have that grounding of knowing you're just on a trip right now. So it's just a lot scarier for people. And I've heard other reasons too, but I mean, like I said, I haven't tried it, so it's hard for me to really explain it. Why aren't capybaras standard? They are! Well, there are a lot of people doing capybaras as pets now, just so you know. When they first came out for me, they were vicious, because, you know, they're rodents, big rodents, mean little rodents, and I actually saw this thing where a pack of capybaras encountered you in the jungle, they would eat you. They would kill you and eat you because they were giant rodents. And I was really shocked by that because I was like, I didn't even know that was a danger. You're worried about tigers and stuff. And then it turns out you can be eaten by giant rodents. Well, apparently they're not like that anymore. So that was a short-lived timeline. All right, let's see what we got. Weird stuff. Dog riding on a horse. Okay, so I do feel like horses have gotten more playful and a little smarter, but horses can definitely tolerate like having all kinds of things ridden on them if humans have trained them. So I don't think it's totally shocking. Horses will just be like, yeah, okay, whatever. Because this dog weighs like nothing to this horse. It's like a hat. So, and she might have even trained this dog to do it, and this is a pretty tiny horse, so that dog could get up there. I've seen cats do it a lot, because cats could, and sometimes it goes bad, because if the cat uses their claws, then the horse will get upset. A bat for a pet. You know, I don't really want to go into why, but apparently they're pretty gross pets. DMT, I think I can handle DMT, but I don't think I'm doing salvia. It'll be everybody knows dogs are bears' best friends. Duh. Where have you been living? In a cave? I know. All right. You know, it is interesting, though, when you mention this. 'Cause I'm thinking about them. I'm like, have I ever really seen any of these videos until recently? The answer is no. And maybe part of it is also that the dog is willing to go on there. I don't know. So this dog is not directing this horse. He's just sitting on there, and the horse can go anywhere. So it might be a little bit more shocking if we get to where the dog's like, okay, go right. Okay, go left. That would be crazy. All right, so we go back. Go back. I did that one. So, look, I have a whole page left. All right, those are actually not Mandela's. This one was weird. Did I ever have this on? In the 20s, a strange disease known as encephalitis lethargica spread throughout the world, affecting 5 million people. How come I didn't hear it? 1920s isn't that long ago. Like, Grandma should have heard about it. It killed 1 million, and many of the survivors were left unable to move or speak, but were conscious and aware. No cure was ever found, and it disappeared in 1926. And I looked into this. It looks like this is legit. I mean, here they're just putting it onto the wiki. So it basically caused some kind of a, like, it was called sleeping sickness, where you just be, like, paralyzed or asleep. Attacks the brain, puts in a statue-like condition. Now, I have heard of rare cases where somebody just was kind of frozen in syndrome, but I had not heard of a sickness spreading this to 5 million people and killing 1 million of them. I've never heard of that. That is crazy town. High fever, sore throat, headache, lethargy, double vision, sleep inversion. So that's like the opposite schedule, where you want to sleep in the night and stay awake in the day, which like just about everybody has nowadays, it seems like. Abnormal eye movements. I don't know. This is just crazy. So some kind of pandemic that puts you in a coma, but you're not, like, your body is okay. It's just your brain. It's like the part of your brain that makes you like want to do stuff, apparently. Anybody ever heard of a 5 million people catching that? Diseases like this that appear out of nowhere and just disappear make me think they were engineered in the laboratory. And that may be the reality narrative that comes to the fore right now. But I don't think that disease was there for me 10 years ago. Like, I never heard of it. And we studied this kind of stuff in college because I was a psychology major. So we totally studied in biology all the weird things that could go wrong with the brain. And if 5 million people got that, I just can't imagine we wouldn't have been studying it. Would have been huge. Reminds me of the story of a whole village that slept for a long time. Yeah, so there was some theory that it might have been like a CIA experiment, and then others are saying no, it was toxins in the wheat. But that was like a starter storyline, and then this one came along more recently. Yeah, you'd think there'd be a lot of YouTube videos on it, especially even during the pandemic, you know, with the whole storyline on the long COVID and stuff. You don't remember doing magic mushrooms? I haven't done it that long, actually. I started it after I started this show. So a couple years, but I don't like, it's not like I go, oh, magic mushrooms every weekend or something. It's just once in a while. No such thing as contagious viruses. I don't know. Like, I do see I get a virus, then everybody else in the house gets a virus, or somebody else gets in the virus, we all get it. Something does seem to spread. Maybe down the line it'll be different. I don't know, but maybe they don't all do that. I mean, there could be more than one thing spreading around. All right, so apparently this thing was recorded in Dali, Yunnan, China. I've seen other videos of it, so it looks like this is legit. It like happened. So there's some weird cloud in front of the sun or what, but it was pretty weird. So I just thought I'd flap it on here. You can see they actually did video of it, where they move around, so it's less likely to be fake. Somebody was saying it might be SpaceX, but that is not the way I've seen enough launches around here, and those kind of go out more like this. I have not seen those in the daytime looking all weird backlit like that from the launches. Oh look, there's Star Wars. What do you know? Probably not the weirdest thing we're going to see, but still kind of interesting. This cicadas thing. Look at how the big eyes. Every time this comes around, it's like more and more. Like the first time there was cicadas, they're just one. And oh, this one's haven't shown up in 68 years. That's why you never heard of them. And then the next thing you know, there's two broods and one does every 13 years and one does every 68 years. Oh, and then these do every 7 years and those do every 9 years. And this is it. And so now there's like dozens and dozens of broods that come out all different years and they all look weird. And I'm like, ugh. After the eclipse, of course, they're all coming. I think they're coming out now. Brood 13 and brood 19 are set to emerge. So we have at least 19 broods now. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Everybody's getting them but me, of course. We don't have them here, I don't think. Or we don't have them in enough that you'd notice. I wouldn't be surprised if we had some, but there were just a few or something. So I just wanted to comment. I don't remember these bug-eyed, creepy ones. I don't even know why I saved this one. Hold on. Oh, yeah, this weird water thing. So this is that laminar flow thing that I've had on before, where I don't remember water being able to do laminar flow. So this is basically a water tube that just is open, but the water just flows like as if it's not, I guess, with the back pressure and the somehow I don't even really get when laminar flow happens, but apparently now it's getting easier and easier because you can basically just shoot water and it doesn't splatter all over. So look, it's not even dripping. This is crazy baloney. They're not even wasting any water. There's no splattering. You just have, now granted this one is downhill and there's probably back pressure on this one, I would guess, but still, it seems so wrong. I've had this one on before. Polar bears don't stay in the snow anymore. I'm pretty sure I've had this exact one on. It just looks so weird. So this is legit. They now live somewhere that blooms in the spring. And they sleep on them. And it's like, no, that is so wrong. I haven't had that in a long time. So I'm like, I'll spare 30 seconds for that one. Some of these, I did these like a month ago. I don't even remember. Oh, yeah. I remember why I want to have this on. I've seen so many of these lately, and I think this might be a physics thing, because I don't remember like a single lone tire being able to throw an entire car until just recently. So what happens here is a tire comes off of a vehicle in the front. Okay, and that tire rolls, I think it's this one, and hits this, and then somehow this car drives over it and then like flies there. So this tire threw this whole car, and I've seen multiple of these, so it's actually a truck. I don't think we get to see the tire coming off, but it's just, it used to be the tire would hit the vehicle and bounce off, but now apparently the vehicle bounces like over the tire, and I don't know. It seems wrong. And I've seen so many like this lately, too. Yeah, I'm making progress here. So I've got, what, 45 minutes left. Sleeping sickness in Kazakhstan. So I think they came out. Those ones, they were like in the more on the east coast of the United States. They don't come out by us. But I've seen images of them out and people saying they're out. Like somebody I know that lives in the area took images of them, one of them out. Now, originally when I heard of these, they would come out and there would be so many that it would be horribly noisy and stuff. So I don't know if that's still happening. I haven't heard anybody complaining about horrible racket of a million, billion, bajillion cicadas. So maybe they're not doing that now. Polar bears relaxing on the beach with cups of tea. We're getting close. In Russia, they do that. Let's see. Hold on if I can find it. Polar bear drinks tea. Let me see if I can find one where a polar bear drinks tea. I think it's normal bears. Normal bears drink tea. I don't think we've got polar bears yet. Bear drinks tea. Darn it. I'm sure I've seen stuff like that lately in Russia. Like the bear will kind of get some tea and put it down. That kind of thing. Google's not helping me at all. They're getting more civilized. Let's just put it that way. I think before they would have bit your face off, but now you can feed them like grapes and they won't. Sleeping sickness, heroin addiction. Yeah, well, the thing with heroin is it wears off later, and this one doesn't apparently have. A new case of sleeping disease. Oh, I missed that one. Let's see. Mystery. Oh, okay, that's what you're talking about. Mystery of Kazakhstan. Sleeping sickness solved. We're hit by the illness. That's interesting. 8 days old, right around the time of that. Well, like 3 weeks after that lethargica one, we get a current case one. Huh. Why are there birds? Of course, Kazakhstan, it's like massively, ridiculously huge now. Villagers would fall asleep suddenly, even while walking, and wake up with memory loss, grogginess, weakness, and headaches. Some fell victim more than half a dozen times, will suffer sleeping for up to 6 days. The sick person appears to be conscious and can't even walk, but then he falls into a deep sleep and snores. So it sounds like narcolepsy, except for the sleep snoring, because the narcoleptics stay conscious. It affects both old and young. Some report nightmarish hallucinations. Even pets were not immune. Their cat got it. The dog got it. Some people are saying the uranium mines. I've not heard of that be a side effect of uranium. Sleep disorder experts could not find it. Uranium mines. It is the uranium mines? Heightened levels of carbon monoxide and hydrocarbons in the air. The uranium mines were closed at some point, and at times a concentration of carbon monoxide occurs there. The oxygen in the air is reduced accordingly, which is the real reason for the sleeping sickness in these villages. I don't know. That just seems weird. So the mines are far away. You would think all the gases would mix. And if you did have a sudden carbon monoxide load, then you'd think people would fall down in waves as that carbon monoxide kind of impacted the whole area. You shouldn't have like the cat went down but the kid and the dog are fine. Oh, next week the dog goes down, now the cat's fine. I mean, like, that doesn't really make much sense to me. Like many things in the world today. Polaris bears. yeah, I don't know. Like the bear thing, it started out with like pet bears that didn't bite you. But now it's like I see every year more and more crazy business. It's not like Russia just started getting crazy in the last few years. So this bear is what, going to toot the horn now? Oh, this fits with my storyline that they're playing more animals playing music. So this this bear is tooting this horn. Yeah. He grabs it on his own. Something's up with the animals. I swear we're getting animals that come. First it was the surfing, okay? And now it's going to be music. That seems to be the direction we're heading. I know I saw one that was like drinking. I think it was coffee out of a mug or something. It would kind of like this, and it would kind of tip it, and that would kind of. I mean, it wasn't the most smooth ever, but one would imagine they trained it to do it, but it would do it. Bears running for president. I think I'm voting for a bear this year because it probably is a better choice than the two we have. "35 years ago, all the polar bears will drown when the Arctic completely melts." For me, it was they were all going to starve because there'd be no more sea ice. And then they weren't going to be able to access their normal food. But they're fine. You know, I'm not even... I think I just wrote it off. It's this whole argument game between the two sides. There's got to be two sides and they have to fight. And instead of like us fixing our own crap, one side does not fix their crap. It just points at the other side. And then this side does not fix their crap. They just point the other side. And the two of them are just dropping like rocks to see how low they could go by just blaming everything on the other side. And that's pretty much the state of politics. And then if you try to call them out, they go, yeah, but the other side. And I'm like, I don't want to hear about the other side. I want to hear about why you are going to be a better candidate. But no, it's just, but we're better than the other side. I never want to hear that again. Stop sucking. Okay, both of the sides need to stop sucking. 70% nitrogen. I know, it's crazy. So how does it, I don't know. Is carbon monoxide more powerful if it's 70% nitrogen and there's hardly any oxygen? I guess. I don't know how we got so much nitrogen, but our lungs are like way smaller too. We must be like way more efficient. Teresa has a serious illness. I hope she gets better. I have a very strong suspicion that the mental aspect is super important in this timeline as far as avoiding illnesses. Or recovering. First it was we're going to die because no water. Then it was dying of... yeah, I don't know. There's been 100 reasons they said we're going to die. We're going to run out of water. We're going to run out of oil. Acid rain's going to poison everything. The ozone hole is getting so big everybody's going to die of cancer. And then the suitcase nukes that were stolen from Russia, supposedly. Y2K... I'm sure I'm missing a whole bunch of stuff that was going to kill us all, but at some point you're like, yeah. And then the young kids are like, you're not taking this seriously. I'm like, hey man, I have seen 100 ways we're going to die for sure. Then with the Mandela, I'm like so done. I'm voting for a different timeliner. Voted for Arnold. I don't know. He was the last Republican governor of Cali. I don't know if we'll ever have another at the... It's like so Dem right now, unless things change drastically. There's not going to be any more non-Dem candidates for a while. All right, well, we got 5 minutes left. Maybe I'll look at one more. Blink. I don't think we'll do Google Earth. I was just checking a couple things, but the stuff that was really changing fast. Uh-oh. I might have screwed that one up. When I remove stuff, I'm supposed to remove... I hope I didn't screw that one up before. So basically... There's been a few times I'm supposed to remove this out of my saved file, but since I'm a mod, I have the power to remove it out of the whole subreddit. And I think this one, I removed it out of the whole subreddit because they deleted it, but I hope so. I wouldn't want to screw that up. All right, that was that weird cat. This one, this is like a super old Mandela. But, Revenge of the Jedi. Who remembers Revenge of the Jedi? I do remember Revenge of the Jedi. For many years, it was Revenge of the Jedi. And somehow it became Return of the Jedi. And I didn't really notice. I think I have a vague memory of going, oh, is it Return? I guess it must have been. But it was Revenge. So in this timeline, this was... they never marketed it as Revenge, but they did print up a couple things that got out, like in a couple movie theaters, that it said Revenge until they fixed it. But for me, I mean, it was Revenge on the Jedi for a long time. So this is the storyline here, that they changed their mind, basically. They were going to make it Revenge, and then they changed it to Return. And I remember it being Revenge of the Jedi. That was I think that's a really old Mandela, actually. So this just kind of randomly, they're like, hey, look, it's one of those super rare $1 billion Revenge of the Jedi posters that got printed early and were not used. So yeah, so it's always been Return of the Jedi, but some of us remember Revenge of the Jedi for a number of years. Yeah, see, but like, Vivian, how come we remember it being Revenge of the Jedi for like years? And there was no internet then, so there's no way I would have heard about it on the internet. So, like, yeah, I get it. Jedis don't take revenge, but it's a movie title. I mean, the Jedi didn't pick the name of the title, right? So I let it go. I didn't really think about it. Don't be Luke. Yeah, don't give up. I agree. I don't really like that story narrative where he just was like, I'm going to quit fighting and go live in a cave. the troll version. I don't know. That's the land I came from. We had less trolls, ironically, but I mean, it was kind of revenge, though. I mean, he went back and kicked the butts of those that caused problems earlier, so it was revenge, even though Jedis aren't supposed to have revenge. Han Solo could still say, hey, this is revenge. Han Solo named it, okay? That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. All right, so I basically did almost nothing for 2 hours, so I hope you guys weren't too bored. I just got no direction today, and I'm just totally winging it. I caught up by I'm still 2 weeks behind on the comments, but I have made some progress today, unlike last week where I made no progress. So I tried. I will try to catch up. So I apologize for that. And you know the drill. Thanks for coming. Think good thoughts, everybody. This is Eva signing off for Once Upon a Timeline.